Okay, stream's turned on.
And of course, I'm playing the Starstone Industries app before the show starts. Okay, 20 seconds. Ten seconds. All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone. This is Distant Radio 3305 with our weekly interview on Fridays. Today we've got Turjan with us, Turjan Starstone, a name that should be known to all of you guys, if not catch up. With me is Commander Dr. Nagi.
Hello!
Yeah, and of course, Turjan Starstone. Say hello.
Hi, folks. Hi. Thanks for having me here.
And of course, unannounced, but also here, his sister, Tajana. Say hello for me.
Hello.
And yeah,
Sorry, I'm just not that enthusiastic to be here sometimes, can
okay.
Don't mind her.
Yeah, I won't. Well, today's interview is a little special since we, yeah, I'm already losing track. Sorry, getting excited having someone so popular, at least for me, around here. Nagi, do you maybe want to start off?
So yeah, we got, as we said, Commander Turjan Starstone here, who is from the Starstone family, obviously. Is running a very large company called the Starstone Industries. So my first question would be, can you explain to our listeners what exactly is Starstone Industries?
Why? What have you heard? No, I'm just no. It's a Starstone Industries Galactic Mega Corporation. So they do a lot of things, fingers and a lot of pies. Primarily, though, the company's heart's still terraforming. That's how they started 1,000 years ago. Good Lord, you believe it? 1,000 years ago. Terraforming of Mars. And yes, you can blame me for the company's most famous slogans. Starstone Industries, the company that's been creating today for 1,000 years, and also bringing you yesterday's tomorrow today. So yeah, that's pretty much what they do.
So, your first, the company's first terraforming project was Mars, so not SpaceX back then, which was a huge company in ancient times on Earth.
Yeah, it was the 22nd century.
Yeah.
There was 2 attempts to terraform Mars. The first one didn't go quite so well, and then came back a few years later and had another crack. And the second time they got it right. So yeah, they were involved with that. There was quite a few companies involved at the time, but yeah, Starstone Industries was in there.
The first successful one.
Well, I wouldn't claim that we did it, but we were part of it.
Behind the scenes.
Up there with the rest of them, but yeah, it was a joint effort. You know, humanity was coming out of the ashes of yet another war. It was very popular back then, wars 1,000 years ago. So they're coming out of the ashes of that one. So yeah, everybody pulled together, and it was a rallying call for humanity to get out there into another world and get terraforming. So it ended well, thankfully, after the first failure.
So, what exactly is your job at Starstone Industries?
Well, I'd describe it as reluctant heir.
What?
Reluctant heir. I don't technically have an official position, really. But I do write the odd bit of logistical and industrial protocol machine code for them here and there. It's just dull stuff. And that's why I try my best not to be stuck behind a desk all the time. So, yeah.
Was that the reason you ran away on Distant Worlds 3302?
Pretty much, actually, yeah. Because that was they weren't too keen on me heading off out there on that one. But it was I thought it might be my last chance to get away and have a look at the galaxy before getting stuck behind the desk all the time.
It wasn't.
No, actually, no, because here I am again, strangely.
Yes.
This time, though, with the company's full endorsement. They're happy to see me out here. In fact, they were pushing me out of the door this time. Get out there and explore. But, I mean, that kind of makes sense because, as I say, primarily a terraforming company, and there's a lot of terraformable worlds out here. So if I can bring back the data to them, never hurts.
Yeah.
Apparently, you don't even need to terraform this one that we are orbiting right now. It's an Earth-like world.
This is a beautiful world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It is.
the closest Earth-like world to Sagittarius A, and it's closer than you might think it would be possible. Don't you agree?
We're what, 3.5 light years from Sagittarius A?
Doesn't it sound dangerous?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, this must be sort of whipping around Sagittarius A in a fair lick, all the stuff around here. But from our frame of reference here, thanks Professor Einstein, everything looks nice and calm and still to us where we're parked. The wonders of relativity. But yeah, it's I haven't been out here since Distant Worlds 1, and that's what, like 3 years ago. So to see a station out here when just 3 years ago coming out here it was like frontier stuff, and there's only really Zulu Romeo had been out there and mapped it a year or two before that.
Yeah, a legendary guy.
Yeah, it's amazing the progress with the frameshift drive that we've got going on here just in a few years for everyone to spread out across the galaxy like this. So it's a different galaxy from where I was 3 years ago.
Speaking of frameshift drive improvements, do you have any Guardian technology on board?
I do, actually. This is somewhat of a tricked out ship. I was given this ship by Uncle Gwydion, the CEO of Starstone Industries. He says, "Oh, you can't go out there in an Asp Explorer. No, here, have this swanky new ship that I've knocked up for you." And I thought, well, this is a change from the last time. And yeah, it does have quite a few little bits and bobs on it that surprised me. So it's quite loaded down with gear as far as it goes, but it'll still manage 52 and a bit light years because it's got a Guardian booster on it. So thanks for that. Yeah,
it's more than I.
Great ship.
Do you like that ship? Is it your favorite?
I do, actually. I mean, the Asp was my favorite ship originally because it was the view. You can't really beat Lake-on ships for the view you get out of the cockpit.
Yeah.
But I did used to love the Asp Explorer an awful lot. It was a wonderful ship. But when you've flown one out to sort of Beagle Point and back, all those little quirks that originally seemed so endearing, they just start to grate on you after a while, and you get a hankering for a bit of a change, a bit of variety, something like that.
It looks like the station in the background
it sounds like he was married to that ship.
Looks like they are doing some target practicing here in the background.
Yeah, I can see that the station's getting a bit fruity with the few people out there. You'd think people would be a bit more careful coming out.
Yeah.
This far to the core.
They didn't even warn us about this exercise.
I can map it.
It's rude.
Let's hope they're just testing the guns.
Yeah.
Because that is a bit, I don't know. Well, they're enjoying themselves, something to do at the core.
So back to ships.
Yeah.
There are rumors that you have a golden painted Anaconda.
Ah, yes. The rumours about my golden Anaconda. Well, that's a bit personal, isn't it? No, I've never actually flown an Anaconda, I have to say. Never actually flown one. There's just something about the whole mass to the internal capacity that unsettles me about the stats on that thing. I think they must be using singularities in it or something. It just doesn't seem safe to me. If you one wrong misjump and the whole thing could implode, I think I'll pass on that. But yeah, you're talking about the song, aren't you? Yes, the song, the Ballad of Turgan Sandstone. Yeah, lovely parody song. It is. It's a great song. And yeah, like they said on the radio at the time. Yes, it's based on the true life story of. I can only guess that it's just a bunch of rumours that are all exaggerated about things that happened on the first Distant Worlds expedition. Because explorers, they sort of meet up in a seedy space bar on when they get back, and in return for a free drink, they'll just spin a few yards. I'm blaming Commander Shibuka primarily. It sounds like the kind of thing he'd do. Met him out there on Distant Worlds 1. So he's probably been spinning yarns back in seedy space bars. And, it's like once these stories go, they take root, get a life of their own. And before you know it, I'm credited with having a crew of Amazon warriors and a strange alien space potato as an engineer. But, that's what happens. Mad rumours out there.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have a golden anaconda, and I certainly don't look like the guy in the song. He looks like Thor. I don't look like that.
Who's Thor?
Thor's eye.
Yeah. Wait.
So Thor's one of our employees. Haven't you forgot?
Yeah, exactly.
One of our security employees.
Yeah, he is. So I don't know how he looks, what he looks like. So maybe you look alike. Maybe that's. Yeah, well, anyway, where were we? We were still at Starstone Industries, right?
Somewhere along the line, yeah.
Along the line. Yeah. What are your future plans for the company?
Me? Well, that would
Yeah.
depend if who's running it, wouldn't it? Really? And let's just between us and all of our listeners and probably the rest of the galaxy as well who are hearing it.
You said you are in air, so.
Yeah, technically, it's the company. It's still a family one, and it has hereditary positions. So I'm technically in the primary spot to be the next CEO, but I don't see it happening. Really, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Uncle Gwydion, current CEO, he's one of those type. He just keeps going. He'll probably outlive me anyway. So, that question's probably moot. There's some immortal thing going on. Anyway, the second reason is that it's my sister, Turjana, because she has a way better business head than me. So, if it came down to it, I'd be shoving her in front of me for that job.
In a heartbeat.
But what about the shows?
But he's not wrong. He'd make a rubbish CEO.
What about Turjan's shows? When she's becoming a CEO.
Well, yeah, because she has a talk show, Turjana After Dark. But the talk show hosts. Well, I say she has a better head than me for this kind of gig, definitely. So yeah, how she'd managed to juggle running a talk show and being the head of a company, that's up to her. That's not up to me, is it really? I just like exploring. I like doing a bit of coding on the side.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Someone just exploded near the station.
Yeah, they have a habit of doing that around here. Not us, thankfully.
Yeah, not us, actually. But still. The station is brand new and people are already dying out here.
Well, it's progress. It's not up to us, is it?
It's people dying here, that's progress, alright.
deep space surveys, it's up to them.
And also that beluga.
There's always a beluga.
Yeah, but it was just hanging around there. Anyway, no, it's
Everywhere.
fine.
There's always a beluga.
Back to topic. I had a question. If they don't consider you becoming, of Starstone Industries, why do you think they sent you out here?
Well, as I say, I did turn in a lot of good data last time from the first one. They were a bit reluctant to let me go out last time. But I brought back a lot of good data on terraform floors and things, and so the company liked that, and they liked the fact that it brought them a lot of media attention. They just love their media attention. So it's a spotlight thing. It puts the spotlight back on the company in a positive way. Oh, look,
You think
everybody,
that's all?
terraformables out there. So yeah, so they're quite happy about it this time. The mystery for me is why Turjana's here really, because like I said, she's the next one in line, but she's supposed to be doing a talk show back home. What's she doing out here?
Yeah, maybe she's expecting some more viewer numbers too.
Yeah.
We can ask her herself, Tajana, why are you out here?
It's what it comes down to really is it. I mean, Turjan, he's not exactly the life of the party, is he? He's a bookish type. Now, he says that being a bookish type is a common thing with explorers, but I'm not so sure. And that's probably the main reason I've come along with him. It's a bit like yourselves, I mean, you know what it's like on this side of the comfy interview sofa. We want to chat to the explorers. We want to find out what it is that motivates them. And also maybe dig a bit to see if they have any good parties out here. I mean, it can't all be fumaroles and albulous gourds, can it? There's got to be a way to let your hair down, and that's the side of the trip that I'm interested in.
So it wasn't entirely the decision of the company.
Well, no, I mean, what sort of a talk show host would I be if I wasn't interested in the parties and the gossip? I mean, your listeners, they don't want to hear about me. They get enough of that with the holidays back in the bubble. What do they actually know about you lot? It must have been quite a challenge setting up the network with this whole transgalactic expedition, a whole radio network out here. Have you told your listeners about how you set all that up?
Yeah, we orientated ourselves a bit on what radio Sidewinder did there back on Distant Worlds
I
1.
just realised. Sorry, it's just force of habit. I'm so used to asking questions that answering them. I shouldn't be asking. This is your show. You carry on. I'll stop.
It's no problem, madam. No problem. And for this particular case, we had an agreement with stations managers to use their comms relay to amplify our signal, because the radiation levels are pretty high here, so it's difficult to get a clear signal through.
I've seen Cold Glider. I bumped into him a couple of waypoints back, so he's probably out here running another repair sequence on his beacons. All legitimate, all above board, beacons.
I'm afraid
that's
also
what he says.
That's at least the part we can disclose. Some stuff is classified.
Absolutely.
About our top secret radio network, because as you might know, we're available in the entire galaxy and not just the populated parts.
Yeah, and some people would like to get their hands on that kind of tech, so keeping that a secret is a good idea.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a little involved also, and gray zone too, maybe. I'm really fresh. I'm new to the Pilots Federation, so I'm actually not on top of everything regarding the legal situation of the radio.
Well,
so
the Pilots Federation itself, it likes to live in a grey area, so I wouldn't worry yourself too much.
Yeah, you're kind of right about that. But they let us do our things, so should be fine.
Well, until now, I hope so. Yeah. Anyway, it's still about you, Turjan, not about our radio.
Yes, thanks, sis. You can't trust her.
Yeah, well,
that's what she's like.
As you prepared us, she tries to hog the spotlight. Sorry, Turjana, but
True. Well, she's She is a twin, and that means we've always been close. But with life being what it is, she went off in her one direction as a talk show host, and I went off in another career-wise.
Yeah, no, I know.
And
I do have a little sister.
we don't get to see as much of each other as we used to. Well, until now. Here she
Obviously.
is all the time, stuck with me on the ship. So I mean, it does make a nice change to be back together for a while, because it feels like a bit like we're kids again. Pranking around when we're kids. It sort of takes a bit of the edge off. As that. So it's a bit of fun sometimes.
Yeah, like it's like that with siblings.
It is, yeah.
It's just all about love. Anyway, back to you. What was your greatest discovery so far?
Probably not what you'd expect. I say I found a fair number of Earth-like worlds and an awful lot of terraforming worlds and things, and with the company are very pleased with that. Found a few rare carbon stars, and neutron stars, but I prefer small worlds myself, and I like little potatoey worlds. There's just something about them, cute potatoey worlds. And I think my favourite one of those, which I regard as my greatest find, was a little teeny one that had this very weird steep-sided parabolic crater on it that I nearly came a cropper in. I nearly got stuck in. If it weren't for some luck getting out of it at the end of the day, it was a spot of luck, because it had a couple of crashed ships in it, which I only found out after I parked in it, and they had trouble getting out. But I managed to get out.
It must have been a
things
scary
like that.
moment, seeing all those. wrecks.
Yes, I thought. So this is it. Maybe the company was right to be worried about. Said, let me come out here. But yeah, that was probably my greatest find for me personally. The weird little potato moon with a strange parabolic crater. Because I mean, this is the thing. You do not know what you're going to find out here. And this time, unlike the last expedition, we've got even better exploration tools now. They've improved those.
Oh,
So
yes.
we've got the filtered spectrum system, so we can find things at a greater distance, and you can find all the biological stuff that we didn't see last time we were out here in Distant Worlds 1. We just didn't have the kit to find it. But now you can scan these systems and get out there and find all sorts of weird biological and crystalline structures. So I'm sure that's another one of the things.
Have you seen one of those thunderstorms yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen a thunder. I've seen a little will-o'-the-wisp. It's what it looked like to me.
Oh.
I say little. It was probably the size of the cockpit. But yeah, I've seen just a little glowy one that backed off a bit when I got close.
So by the way,
I think
aren't there any like, we have Lagrange clouds here, or at least something in the system. It's just a notable stellar phenomenon on my scanner. I haven't checked them out yet.
Yeah, when I dropped in, I saw that there was a stellar phenomenon in the system. I haven't had a chance to look yet because Turjana was hassling me to get parked so she could stretch her legs in some gravity for a change. She hates the magnetic boots and the zero gravity hair, so she was hassling. I was going, I just want a stellar phenomenon. It's just, no, get parked, would you? All right, fair enough. So I haven't had a chance to pop out and have a look at that yet.
Oh, but still, will-o'-the-wisp sounds nice.
Yeah, they were quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah, when
apart from
Michael
the
was
disruption to the HUD.
doing the interview with DJ Truthsayer, he invited him on board his ship via travel presence and showed him some void hearts. Those were really cool.
I've not seen those yet. It's odd actually, because I mean, you'd think that there should be more Lagrange clouds than there are, but I've seen two on my way out here. And I've seen more Earth-like worlds and water worlds and terraform worlds, certainly, than that. So the stellar phenomena are rare. They are still rare.
Indeed.
I hope
one.
to see those in some
I
voids
found
and
one
things.
on my own, and
So you haven't seen
it looked like a fart
yet?
because it was brown.
I've seen the crystals. I've seen
Oh yes,
red
there were
crystals
also
and
crystals
purple
inside
crystals.
I can send you a photo I took if you want.
Yeah, I'm great for any extra info. Any intel is fine. And what else? I found they look like tube worms. I don't know what exactly they are. On a couple of moons that were orbiting so close to each other that they probably not going to be around much longer. A few more years, and they'll probably be crashing into each other. Those two. But yeah, there was tube worms on both of them, so they must have transferred by spores from one to the other. That was impressive and creepy though. Parked there, and there are some weird sounds there. Not ones that you want to sort of take to bed with your strange noises. But yeah, that was an impressive thing. Just biologicals. Because as I say, last time we couldn't see any of those.
Interesting. Strange how space changes in such a short time.
Yeah, well, it's our tech that's catching up with it. That's the thing. Let's see. Oh, that void arc is fascinating. Oh, I've got to find some of those.
They look awesome.
Just as long as they're not mineable or anything.
Well, they're not.
Turjan has developed a taste for void opals, so I don't want to let her near them. Anything that's got the word void in it, she'll probably try and mine it to make a necklace out of or something.
No, they just are called void hearts for some. Well, scientists are bad at naming stuff.
They have a lack of originality.
We know why Sagittarius A star has this star mark at the end, because it's exciting. That's how scientists marked things back then, when they thought that is exciting.
A special award for being exciting. Here, have a star.
And because the star route is called Source 2.
Yeah.
So we should call which space star, because it's so exciting.
Sometimes that one is a bit too exciting, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is a weird place.
Have you heard about that story about that crew apparently gone missing, and then it turned out that it was a fake?
No, actually.
It was on Garnet.
It wasn't Garnet?
Yes.
Oh god, I haven't watched the news lately. Been busy with creating news.
No, I've got Cassie Saturn on board. She's always reading the damn thing, so I don't actually look at the news much because she's always reading it away in the background. I'm thinking of she's got a job to do. She's got a job to do. But yeah, I don't know. As I say, I don't tend to keep up. The same reason I don't get stuck behind desks. So you come out here to get away from the bubble. You don't want to see the news.
So why is Cassie Saturn with you?
Well, you're journalists. You know what it's like. She's a journalist. Someone's got to report on stuff.
But how do you know each other? Is it because of Jenna, or how does it come to that? Did she make that happen?
It's an odd situation. It's that one. We sort of bumped into each other as part of the follow-up to the Distant Worlds thing, because there was a lot of interviews and things, and I was like Flavour of the Month Celebrity Explorer for a while, which I wasn't particularly fond of when I got back there. She was actually one of the people that was doing interviews for that. So I sort of bumped into her with that. It's a weird situation. She just sort of, I don't know how, she sort of attached herself. So whenever I'm off doing an exploration thing now, she has a habit of just tagging along. And fine, okay, she keeps sending reports back to Galnet. That's fine, whatever she wants to do. But yeah, so she's along for the ride here too.
So in other words, females tend to sneak on board your ship.
It's beginning to look that way, isn't it? I should put better locks on the doors or something. Those pair of journalists talk to each other all the time. I don't ask what they get up to. None of my business, journalists. No offense to you guys, obviously.
Cassie Saturn doesn't look too bad, so you won't feel lonely, I hope.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they've both got ulterior motives for coming out here. Because a lot of famous explorers out on this trip. Now I say explorers, a lot of them like to be single, which is why they're out on trips like this. Oh God, no, not people following me out here. I want to get as far away as possible. But maybe they do. I'm not sure your motive. Maybe they're looking for someone out here. I don't know. I'm going to press them on it. I hope they can't hear me back in the other room.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think that'll cause problems. Anyway, if they are not listening to the radio, they are doing something wrong.
Oh yes, clearly.
They'll probably hear it later.
Shameless self-promotion.
They'll beat me up later for making that comment, probably.
Nuggy, where did you go?
Oh, just backed up a little bit.
A little bit far. That looks like you're
I don't want someone to sneak on board my ship.
Yeah.
Well, they don't get too close to this one, you don't know.
Well, yeah, we were digressing again. Well, yeah. What is it? What do you do besides exploring, Turjan?
Well, what I like to do is exploring, given the choice. But yeah, aside from other things, not exploring things.
Not exploring.
Oh, for God's sake, don't ask him that. He'll just start banging on about the beauty and simplicity of binary code, and we'll be forced to listen to his theories about multidimensional arithmetic. And trust me, you don't want to hear that.
Well, thanks, sis.
I don't trust you, Turjana.
Yeah, it's a bit mean.
On that.
Not completely untrue, but still a bit mean. Short answer, then. I code stuff.
What stuff?
just stuff, Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it is your hobby,
bits
you probably have some stuff you can tell us about.
It's bits and pieces. I do some bits for the company, some not. Well, my hobby is sort of skirting the line between robotics and the edge of the illegal side of things. You can't go over that line into AI, because AI have been illegal for a long time under galactic law, for good reason. When you start looking at what happened to the Guardians.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
Exactly, the Guardians were wiped out by their AI, so maybe we made the right choice.
You can
there.
argue it was kind of their own fault because they wouldn't stop fighting each other, but then again you look at us and we are not different.
Exactly, we're not that far off them. So, yeah, you could certainly say from a higher morality point of view, maybe the Guardian AI took the right decision, but there's no Guardians around to ask. So, yeah, we don't probably want to be in that position. But yeah, my hobby is it's between the line. It's seeing how far you can take the coding. This is what I do. I see how far I can take the coding without it stepping over into that dodgy illegal territory. Because you have to explore these borders. You can't set them in stone, because there might come a day when you need something for the sake of humanity that's on that border. So someone's got to do it, and I regard that as a bit of a hobby. So.
Yeah. Anything anything worth noting? Anything worth disclosing? Something you achieved with that?
Not really. There's no major breakthroughs, certainly, on that edge. It's a very blurred edge, I have to say. The people that wrote those laws, they wrote them quite a long time ago, so they didn't know what we know now about coding and things. So, maybe there's something there that could be useful for the future. If there is, you can bet that Starstone Industries will take it off me before I can do anything with it.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Sorry, I'm being distracted right now. Some people are reporting issues with listening to the
So,
radio.
what do you think about the current COVAS technology then? It's a little bit closer to AI, I guess.
Yeah, it is kind of, again, that's a sort of dancing around the edge of things. Because I mean they're perfectly capable of landing our ships for us, flying them around, following us if we're in an SRV or a fighter or something. So they're not incapable. I mean, Achilles robotics have been, and of course the ZA biomorphic companions, all of these things, and master chefs too, for that matter. They're all dancing around that border of AI. I have a suspicion that galactically speaking, it's probably a little more flexible than the lawmakers would either have us believe, or maybe they know and they're just letting it go that way. I don't know. But
I mean, I've bought an ship's interface, a voice interface for my ship, and sometimes it actually seems to have a temper. So
this is the thing. I've encountered that occasionally with SRVs. I don't know who it is that codes the SRVs in the first place, but there's quite a bit of aberrant code going on in them. So yeah, there's this. I hope it's not some sort of sinister undertone that's going to turn into a big AI revolution that they'll just catch us on the blind side because we're not paying attention to ships with a bit of a temper.
well, paying attention is the wrong way to put it. It's actually, I think, from my personal, I mean, having opinions as a news outlet or media outlet isn't the most popular thing to have. But my opinion is that I just lost track of what I wanted to say. No, I think yeah, I really lost track. God damn it! Sorry.
You're talking about SRV and COVAS.
Well, you're talking about yeah, they're
About development of AIs, I think.
There's
but,
something
or at
going,
least
yeah.
something in that direction.
I don't know whether they're, as I say, I don't think they're developing themselves.
No,
no,
I know what I know again what I remember what I wanted to say. It's like since those laws are that old, people have been just disregarding thinking about the topic itself far too early and not considering the technological advances we had in the past few hundred years.
You're talking about the Asimov laws.
Well, those are a little outdated, I think.
Yeah, but they are kind of fundamental, won't you agree?
Yeah, I do, especially the 0th one. But I think the government, the legislative, is that the right word? Sorry. The lawmakers of this galaxy should maybe consider a new approach regarding this topic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, as you say, the technology at the time when they put the law in was a little bit. It's different from what I mean. Like I was just saying, 3 years ago, we came out here and this was frontier territory, and now we've got a space station there, and we've all got fancy scanners and jump boosts. So yeah, technology just in the last 5-10 years is crazy compared to what it was. So it's probably time to have another look at those, particularly with the Thargoids on our doorstep. And back in the bubble. I mean, they react crazily fast to what we're doing. So it might be that we just have to sort of suck it up and say, we can't actually think fast enough to deal with these things sometimes. Maybe something a bit more AI-ish would have a better chance dealing with them because they think faster, better, different. We need some different tools to face a threat like the Thargoids. And
I mean,
that is probably one of them that may be worth looking at.
Doesn't Starstone Industries have a very powerful legal department that actually could?
Yes, they do. It spans 5. I don't know. Is it 5 or 6 systems now? Anyway, yes, they've got more people working for them than you get in the Imperial Navy. It's mad. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's a mad legal system. it's one that's still got a hangover from year before last at Christmas.
I mean,
when,
it's stretching across all those different territories for free superpowers, so it's a bit more complicated than one might think, because they all got different laws.
Well, exactly. I mean, the Federation used to use pretty intelligent machines in combat, battle machines, and the Empire were using biological machines. They were engineering people and tweaking with people, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they use different technologies. So you're going to have trouble putting one law about AI across all of the superpowers.
I mean, the Empire is condoning slavery, so AI.
But
you're
right.
Imperial slavery
Starstone legal
is a bit weird. I'd say it's a weird thing, and Iceling is opposing it, but most Imperials still seem to be fine with it.
Yeah, and some of them are the slaves themselves, but there are different grades of slavery.
I don't even know how I should feel about it, because my ship is was probably being built by slaves. Well, I don't actually know.
True enough. The South Krugers. Yeah, there's quite a lot of that.
Gutemaya. You mean Gutemaya?
And the Gutemaya ships. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of that, because that was how they really started with that set of designs for the Empire. And yeah, they come in for a lot of flack, some of the employee states. But as I say, there's different grades of slavery over there. There's one rule of slavery for the top and one for the less fortunate. So if you're
I didn't know
you're
about
the son of a large family, and you've got a title, and you go, oh no, I've got a gambling debt, I'll be a slave for a while, you'll probably not be the same as if you're some guy that's out on the street and you end up working in a mine. So yeah, not all slavery is created equal in the Empire, that's for sure.
Well, okay. Hope I don't get in that unfortunate
So I've heard.
position.
I don't know if you can go into Imperial slavery if you're not an Imperial citizen.
Technically, no, as far as I understand it. But as I say, that's not really my turf. I don't. I'm independent. I sort of leave all three of these groups to do their own thing.
Yeah, me too. I've done a few jobs for them, which also got me the rank to buy the cutter.
Well,
but I've also done so for the Federation.
That's fine, because I mean, the Pilots Federation are the ones that are keeping the balance. Basically, you can't really let either any of these superpowers get too far ahead of the others, and that's what the Pilots Federation does. In a way, it serves as a leveler, because they like profit. Our friends in the Pilots Federation. And the best way to have the best profit is to make sure that everybody is, all the three superpowers are on the same level. And that way they're all competing with each other for jobs, and we get paid for doing the jobs, so everybody wins.
Yep.
Indeed.
Squeak.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Something loose on your chair.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those endearing traits that I said was nice about the Asp earlier, and by the time I get to Beagle Point in the crate, this squeaky chair is going to be.
Maybe
that chair, squeaky
maybe
chair
you should give Mechanic Man a call.
I should, yes. He knows his stuff, Mechanic Man. Yeah, he obviously didn't fix this chair before I came out.
Don't scratch my paint.
Yeah, I just scratched your shield, sorry.
Alright, yeah, shields. Shields are a nice thing.
I've got kind of token shields on this thing.
Well, you've got token everything on this thing.
4Ds, but I did. What did I do with them? Did I pimp them out a bit before I came out? Let's have a look. Yes, enhanced.
Well, yeah, I also went with the enhanced modding. Yeah. I also have repair limpets because I'm part of a hull shields. So if your shields go down, I can help you.
Now that's another thing. I mean, on the last when we came out on Distant Worlds last time, yeah, we had kind of had fuel rats. I think maybe just at the time we had rock rats that were helping us find materials.
You definitely had the fuel
But
rats.
we did not have hull seals. That's for sure last
yeah?
time. So if you got your hull dinged, it stayed dinged. Like with Commander Josh Hawkins, I bumped into when I was out on the Distant Worlds expedition for a while. He'd had one or two run-ins with binary stars.
He's down to 39%, I heard.
Is he now? Is he? Oh dear, because he was 40. The last thing that I knew when I met him out there. But yeah, so well, you know, it happens. Attrition, it wears you away, doesn't it? Bit at a time. But that's what the hull steels are for out here. So we'll have people out at Beagle Point that can have 100% hull. I think I was 98% when I got out there, because I was looking at a pretty star for too long, and hadn't noticed the planet that I was driving towards.
Also, I have to admit, I got a little damage myself before I got here, because I was dropping into some planetary rings a little bit too fast.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But the station got
here,
their repair services up now, so we can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've made it out here without
Some
bumping into
maintenance.
anything so far. I'm still on 100%. Part of that is probably Turjana backseat driving. You know, don't get too close to that. Stay away from that. What are you doing? What about my hair? Things like that. She's not listening.
Yeah, well,
So,
I was
yeah,
running to 47% already.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's a good job we have the hull seals this time.
Yeah.
We did lose quite a few commander's ships on the last run. With Distant Worlds one.
Well, there are still ships.
And what was it? Which waypoint here? Was a reasonably high gravity one, wasn't it? And we had a few bumps early on.
It was with the second waypoint. I
Yeah.
think some of the POIs.
Well,
With you, right?
It's a thing because it's
Yeah.
if you're not used to higher gravity worlds, it takes you by surprise. Because once you realise you're being pulled in with an awful lot of shit, particularly an exploration build, you're not going to get out in time. No matter what you do, you think, oh no, and you just see the ground coming up towards you. I had, not on Distant Worlds, but I had a bash like that once, a long time ago in an
It's also a good thing that we got the Medicorps with us, scooping up all those escape pods so people can get back to civilization safely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen to me. I was afraid of the Waypoint 6 stuff with the rotation lock.
Oh yeah, the black hole and the white dwarf right next to each other. That was a scary one.
Yeah,
yes,
someone could have
is.
prepared me for that. I just shat my pants last night when I went there.
Yes, it is. It is a bit of a shocker, that one. Yeah. It's not the scariest thing. I think that one is the Crux, isn't it? The Crux has got three neutron stars.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful system.
That's it's beautiful, but it's terrifying.
Well,
blinding too.
That's scary for me, at least. I'm more afraid of white dwarfs and black holes. So
have you guys been to Seg A already?
No.
Years ago. It's years since I've been there. I doubt it's changed much.
I guess it's still hungry.
But yeah, it will be. But yeah, it's 3 years since I was there, I think. So.
Yeah. Looks like we should get back to the questions. Well, why did you join Distant Worlds 3305? This has pretty much been answered. What are your favorite ship make and model?
Yeah, I always say that's the thing. I'm liking the crate now. I am these days. It's a great reworking of a classic design.
You mean a crate rework?
Yeah, I mean the original crate was it was discontinued many years ago, and it was mostly a pirate ship, but it was a great design at the time, even if it was discontinued. I still don't know why it was discontinued. It's probably an awful lot of corporate.
Well,
I mean, the number of times that ship blueprints have changed hands between the ship makers over the
well, I
years is
think
crazy.
as soon as they brought out the Mark II, the Mark I just became obsolete. So
Yeah, no one made it. No one made it. I can't remember who made the original, but they clearly went out of business or
It's a
lost
bit
the
like
rights to
what
make it or
happened with
something.
the Eagle. They brought the Mark II
Yeah,
out, and people's there are some crazy dudes who are still using the Mark One, but they were
yeah,
kind of slowly falling apart.
yeah. You have to scavenge bits from something else to make them work. But yeah, this Mark II is it's a nice nod to the old design, I think, and it's certainly got a lot more room than the Asp. I did like the Asp, but the Asp could get a bit cramped sometimes
cramp.
when you
You're
when
alone
you
on
just
that
out
ship.
on your own. Yeah, yeah, but you know the cockpit is a bit smaller, and this is a bridge. I'm on a bridge here
Yeah,
with three
true.
chairs in it, and you know it feels like it's a big proper thing. So you're not like having alone with your thoughts rattling around in your head all the
Yeah,
time.
I did like the Asp at first too, but once the Phantom came out, immediately fell in love with it.
Phantom's a lovely ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Just look at it, and it's
Um,
perfectly immaculate midnight black
but
paint job.
I mean, I've got a symmetry thing, so I've got the Mark II here because it's got three chairs in it symmetrically.
Yeah, I
The two
can get
chairs in the
that.
Phantom, I couldn't get comfy with it. I liked the red paint job. It was a toss up, but no, I went with the Mark II in the end.
It's still beautiful. The paint job is really nice.
Well, I didn't have any choice actually.
So, but you called your ship SI Legacy. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're actually
I
considering
didn't.
becoming the actual next
I didn't.
chairman of
That was Gwydion's
Starstone
idea.
Industries.
He called it that. Gwydion put SI Legacy on it.
Yeah, but you
I don't
were
know.
okay with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I haven't changed it yet. If you that's what you mean. Yeah, I could pop in the station here, change his name. But no, he's got his reasons. I suppose in an odd kind of way, having me and Turjan stuck on the ship like this, we are essentially the starting this legacy. So it kind of makes sense. I don't know if that was what he was intending. He's got a weird mind. It's probably some sort of strange little joke that he'd find funny and we wouldn't know. No offense, Korean, he knows. He knows what I think of him. So yeah, so SI Legacy, it probably has half a dozen meanings. I've worked out two, so I'll probably find out more as I go along and say, oh, that's why he called it that.
So should
It's
we
his
have
way
a
of being.
follow-up interview somewhere close to the end of the expedition, maybe? Just to
Maybe, yes. We'll see if I've learned anything more. Yes.
yes, I think that is a good idea. We should uh, at least consider it.
I still got a long list of people we want to interview, so don't forget that.
It doesn't have to be one of the regular Friday interviews. It can be
Oh yeah.
an irregular one.
Well, hey, you know where I'll be.
Yeah. I will. I indeed will. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at the questions. I don't know if there are any questions from the audience. I haven't seen any so far. But if there are any, we're taking questions live. Also from the what's it called? The video relays, since Nagi is doing some
Yeah.
video conferencing stuff.
Got my
Anyway,
camera drone out, flying around us.
yeah, I still didn't get the hang of that. Anyway, what time is it? It's almost
This is almost 20 o'clock.
yeah, almost 8 p.m. So maybe we should take a break now, and then we will return with more for you guys. If you...
Yes, I'll probably
Yes?
have to get Turjan to her dinner, otherwise she'll give me a slapping. Oh, you're talking all the time. Oh, I want me dinner.
Yeah, well, shouldn't take too long. I think
I
we
can say
should
that,
be back
siblings.
in like 10 minutes or stuff like that. I will play your wait, where is it? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
There's 2 tracks
Why not?
from Commander
Why
Tokoso,
not play it? Yes.
and then we will return with yeah, 2
Indeed.
tracks, and then we will be back for you guys. Yeah, see you in a bit.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right.
I
here for now.
just keep the live stream running.
Yeah, just keep it running. So now, Turjan, you can make some dinner for your sister, which I think is a little bit odd because
She can get her own.
well, can't she do it herself? Is she
Yes,
used
she can.
to being catered to?
She wouldn't need to. Cassie would do it for her.
So yeah,
Anyway,
for a second part we can break roleplay and talk a bit more about how you create your videos and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that will be giving the interview a little more new win.
And we
let me
can
just-
actually explain to ones who didn't get it yet that that was roleplay.
Quite possibly. Yes, because they'll be thinking, what's going on here? It's dying, Artie.
All right. Yeah, we've got a few minutes. Turjan Starstone, and then the Seek, and you will find.
I'm actually
Back
gonna go
home.
to the toilet real quick now.
Yeah, no rush. I can always put a track in after. Anyway, Turjan, there's another track by Commander Tokoso you should know. It's Turjan's Control Alt No Vox. Seek, and you will
Oh,
find.
yes, that's right. Yes, he's got that there.
I'll be playing that too after the.
Yeah. Because he wanted to do something. He just liked the video. If people have seen one of my videos, it's always that one. It's got so many views compared to the others, and it's the
Well-
least representative of my videos.
I think
technically.
the most representative.
He just
is
wanted to
the
write
first
that.
one.
He just wanted to write that for it. You know, because I was using stock music for it, and he just wanted to write a little piece for it
I
himself.
should. You should know. I've rewritten a song by what's it? God damn it, Julian Smith. I don't know if you know him. He's a YouTuber, and he started out like 10 or 12 years ago.
I think I've heard the name, but I can't think of anything more than
He's
that.
been doing short videos. Let me just send you a link.
Oh, I'll have to.
I've there's a song he made called Car Phone, and I've rewritten it to fit into the Elite universe a little bit.
Oh, excellent. Go on.
Okay, I'm
And,
back.
I'm calling it Star Phone. Since I got my new my new microphone, I might possibly record it myself.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's something. Yeah, I'm gonna share the lyrics with you later, but since we don't have that much time, it's about surveillance.
Mhm.
But by the way, yesterday I started reading Premonition, and right on the first page he mentioned the broadcast and your three names there. It was like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
cool! Your name in that book.
Yeah.
We should set the interview date with David. Not David.
Drew
Dragon,
Vega,
sorry,
yeah.
with Drew Vega.
Yeah, Drew. Yeah.
Sometime soon, because
Also,
yeah,
should
we-
get
Yeah.
Dr. Kai soon, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's a busy fellow, it's true. So yeah, he'll need a bit of time to arrange that he can be there. So yeah.
Yeah, I've read that he got quite a bit of salt thrown at him, which is a bit sad.
Yeah,
Why?
he does. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
People weren't quite happy on how the event turned out.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to play it straight up and
Yeah.
accept the consequences of whatever happened. That's
Yeah.
why he was covering his bets when he set it up. When there was three or four, I think three people that could have made it to the destination, and the result would have been the same as far as the story is concerned if any one of them had made it. So he was prepared for people getting offed along the way. So it's a bit mean of people to say it's only a big setup.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not the outcome he wanted, but he was prepared to go with it because he wanted to make it a dynamic
he was completely open about it. No? That was the point.
Yeah.
He didn't want a particular outcome.
Mm.
Well, still, it was probably pretty disappointing for him.
Yeah, he wasn't happy, but you know, it's the fleas come with the dog job. That one, he set it up, and that was a possibility. So you know, it was one of the consequences that could happen, and he knew it. He knew it.
But he also said that has a lot of a much bigger impact on reader when the main character dies, and so
it does.
I think he wasn't too unhappy with the outcome itself. It really was more about how the community reacted to it.
Yeah, well, you never can tell how a community is going to react when you do something like that. All you have to do is watch Game of Thrones or Walking Dead to find out how communities react when characters get killed off.
Yeah, well, Game of Thrones isn't the best.
However thematic it is, yeah. How are we doing for time there?
2 minutes. A little more, like 3. Yeah, 3 minutes. So we don't have questions prepared for. Well, we do have the general questions.
I'm happy fielding things for the videos. That's fine. I don't need any prep for that. I've got a few salient dates and things written down if I need to refer to them. But yeah, any question on that's fine. I don't need to think. I don't need to write a script like I just did there.
Well, actually, I didn't really prepare much more than those in-character questions.
Michael, have you heard anything from Alex yet?
Nope. He didn't talk yet. Is he online?
No.
Well, let's just ping him. Like half an hour before we finish.
I don't know if pings are gonna do anything for the persons offline.
Depends if he has push notifications activated or not, but the best we can do.
Typing intensifies.
Alright, the ad is running. After that... he holds his ad.
You have left the no-fire zone. Have a safe trip, Commander.
I love those ads. We need more of those.
By the way, what's with second house here at? Is that being in production?
I hope so.
The script is pretty awesome.
I will be doing some more recordings, I hope. Now that I've got my new mic. I've got a new microphone.
Nice.
It's
I think I'm also gonna need one at some point, but yeah.
Yeah, yours sounds fine, but mine didn't.
Right now, I'm thinking about saving up money for maybe going to LaveCon, but thing is, with Brexit, we don't really know what's gonna happen,
Nobody does.
and that's kind of a problem.
Well, we'll see.
And I'm not gonna book any hotel, and then suddenly, yeah,
Maybe-
okay, I can't get into the country for some reason. Okay.
I will try to make it to Elite Meet. Anyway, we'll be back on air in 10 seconds.
I'm gonna poke you with my toy.
And we are back. Hello everyone, welcome back to the interview with Turjan Starstone. This is Distant Radio 3305 with Michael, that's me, and Dr. Nagi, and of course Turjan.
Hello there.
Yeah. Now, for this part of the interview, we are going to break character and we'll be talking meta stuff with Turjan. Like, he's... Yeah, well,
Yeah, to explain for the people who didn't quite get what was going on the first part, that was
Yeah.
complete role playing.
yes, that
Maybe
was
some
entirely...
people are thinking, what's going on? What's going on there? Yeah. That was all roleplay stuff. That was a bit of fun. Makes a
Yeah.
change.
I need to apologize once more for the DNS issues with the radio website, everyone. I'm sorry for that happening on our busiest day. Yeah, I should have considered that before doing it. Well, we are still working out our structure in the radio, so please excuse us for that. Anyway, this part of the interview will be about Turjan as a content creator, like his YouTube channel, especially his series Turjan's Travels, and yeah, well, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. It actually, when was the first one that I did? It was Mojo Moon. The
Yeah.
first episode of
My
Turjan's
favorite
Travels
one.
was.
That's
It's
the
actually your
shortest
favourite
one.
one, is it? Yeah, it's
Mhm.
quite very fun. That was when was it? That was January. It must have been January actually in distant Wales, or March, was it? Yeah. And it's basically what I was doing at the time was I just found little weirdnesses in distant worlds, little bugs and weird things like that. That was it was April. It's what, a minute and a half long is Mojo Moon, and I made it to showcase the weird bug of moons jumping. And it was the first voiced game video I'd ever actually made. I'd never bothered. I'd only made just half a dozen just little videos of bits within the game before that, but that was the first proper video I'd actually made. I had no idea that what I was doing really, and I had no idea what I'd obviously let myself in for. I just had this little idea for a story involving crash sites, and I thought, oh, why not? Why not try making it into a little story video? And that was episode 2, A Grave Mistake. And then the rest, as they say, is history. So we're
Yeah.
up to 46 episodes now, excluding the Christmas ones, with the 47th one that I'm halfway through working on now. If you put them all together, if you decide to go crazy and went on a binge and sat and watched them all, it's pushing 9 hours if you sat and watched them all now.
Yeah, I did.
I binge watched.
I did
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah, it's
Well,
getting
that's
off
how we got in
well
touch.
done.
So,
They are. Yeah, so I've been making those since April 2016. And
Quite a
they've
while.
changed as the game's changed, and they've got more and more complicated. Because
Yeah, well,
there are
you've
some
been-
things.
you've been creating footage outside of the game too. haven't
Yeah, I have recently. Yeah, because I mean, there's sometimes you can only do so much. You can only tell so much in the story with the tools that you've got, and sometimes you need something else to help you tell the story. So I started swiping other bits of game footage from other games here and there. What have I got in there? Skyforge and Blade Runner and things like that.
Yeah,
but
there are
most
scenes
recently-
from other games in there as well, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of scenes. I think Skyforge is one I used with the Yesterday's Tomorrow episode where I've got Turjan in a dome, in a hydroponics dome, running around in there. Because there were space legs available in that one. But recently, more recently, I've got hold of a program called iClone, and what I've done in that is I've recreated the Remlock suits. I've retextured stuff in iClone to basically remake Remlock suits so that I can
Wow.
have characters
How
walking
long
around.
did it take you
wearing
to do
very
that?
Probably too long. But you know, you only have to do it the once. You only have to do it the once. That's the thing. I can just change colours and things like that. There's the blue suit that Turjana's currently wearing in the episode is the base suit that I've bought that one. That's an asset that you can use, and I took that as a base suit and I've retextured that one. So what Turjan wears is that one, but retextured so that it looks like an elite suit. So yeah, and Cass's Ascendant Silver is the same thing. So yeah, but as I say, you only have to do it the once, and then you can use it indefinitely. That because so there's a limit. Holomies were great. I loved the introduction of Holomies, and I used them for quite a few episodes, just as is. But there's only a finite number of times you can cut away from someone's face when they're saying something, because people expect faces to move when they talk. So you know, having a conversation where essentially you're looking at the person who's not talking all the time was a bit weird. Which is why I would use iClone
For the first episode, you could work around that by using actually first person, which I actually
I still do. I still do. Yeah,
one of the most best ways to work around that, I think.
Yeah, it's also much less work to do.
It is a lot less work, yes. And there are times when I think, do I really need to lip sync this entire sequence here? Can I just get away with a little scene like that? And I think, yeah, I do. So you know, it does make it. What? Sorry.
Sorry for interrupting. Nagi, do you have report crimes enabled?
Oh yes, it's you know, that's a good point. I better just check. But I think I've got it routinely turned off.
I got it on.
Where do they keep it now? Let's see. Where do they keep it?
Turning it off now.
There it is. Yes. Report crimes.
You don't wanna fire inside the no fire zone, anyways.
Yes, still I'm thinking about.
They don't like you getting your scanners out. Oi, put those scanners away. You could hurt somebody with those scanners.
Yeah. Or I remember when I was farming wake scans and always scratching the no fire zone and retract your hard points. What happened?
Yes. Weapons will not be tolerated, Commander. Scanner. What you? No, mind. Yeah, it's impressive station, is this? I have to say. I mean, it wasn't in the Cellus at first, though, was it? They had an Orbis out here for a moment, a small Orbis head.
It was announced as an Orbis on Garnet.
Yeah, and when I parked at this one, it was this Acellus, but it had different engines on the back, and now they swapped those for solar panels. That's fine.
We are not in fleet com. We got no speed limit.
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks very cool. I've never seen one looking like this with the little sparks going there, being welded together. It's very cool. Very cool.
It looks nice. Yes, it's a really pretty sight.
But yeah, so yeah, I was saying about the whole iClone thing. Well, I don't actually find it that hard to do the lip syncing and the facial expression stuff, because my training years ago, I used to do work as a caricaturist and cartoonist and things. So that kind of thing it came sort of naturally to me to put expressions and lip syncy things on people. So it's not that much of a chore. So I'm having fun doing that anyway. And it means I can have more characters on the ship, and which gives you a bigger variety of story topics and things you can take it down. Provided I don't go too far and end up with like 9 to 10 crew like a Star Trek episode. Too far.
Well, I actually, it would be too much for you to do alone, but it would be fun. It's fun to think about, at least.
Well, I'm not the only one out there. I do collaborative work with Commander Scorpius and Commander Machine and Commander Spatula as well. Between the four of us, we do bits of like the whole the Christmas is cancelled, the Yule Tube thing, not last Christmas but Christmas before. That I set that one up so that everybody could jump in and make contributory episodes if you wanted, and everyone would just tell a little bit of a story on their own. And that's how Commander Scorpius and Machine and Spatula and I work together a lot in that. And so we have quite a chatty group there, the four of us now, with the whole video making thing. So there's a lot of crossovers going on with all of our stuff. And that's good because I mean it's all creativity and it's all pushing forward. I mean, the more people that are telling stories in Elite, the happier I am, because it's a wonderful sandbox to tell stories in. So everyone should just get in there and tell stories. Anything you can think of, you can put in the game.
Yeah,
Like,
indeed. You're pretty much
the
right
AI
about
stuff
that.
we were talking about on the fly there in the interview. There's an awful lot of AI potential in stories to be had in this game.
Yes. Speaking about AI. I'm still keeping a lot of my RPG roleplay background a secret, especially about the radio.
Oh, do? Yeah, I do.
Because I haven't talked about it with you enough to actually. We have to coordinate a little bit some parts about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want, because I mean, there's nothing better than having a long-seated little story thing that just comes to light and people go, oh, so that's what's been going on all the time. And I just did that in mind with the Revelations episode. It's referring back to things that I started setting up like nearly 2 years ago in the episodes. And if you look back, you go, good God, yes, it's sitting in there. And it's just little seeds of things planted that I was going to do something with in the future. And there they are, they're all coming to fruition there in the Revelations episode. Yeah. And that's fun, people like that. But yeah, the other thing about crossovers and collaborations and just story videos in general is you can have guest people on doing little pieces here and there. I've had a few over the years.
Oh yes, you did. Commander Josh Hawkins and Chabuka, for example, Dr. Kai.
Yeah, Dr. Kai. He was in episode 6, and it'll be in another one, of course.
The Doctor.
Without getting him in.
First time
you also got Obsidian End.
I actually thought you were referencing some famous TV show.
That's right. I was. Yes. The Doctor. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. Obsidian Ant's been in a couple as well. Yeah, so I had Cold Rider and had all of the folks that I could get at Beagle Point last time in the Beagle Point episode. I got an awful lot of folk in that one just for a laugh and driving around being silly.
Why is there a collector limpet?
I just fired one.
And let's see who else I've had there. I've had Commander Darby's in a couple. He's voice of the Android controller. Scorp, of course, and Spatula. I had Hello, It's Colo. Yes, I had Colo in episode 41,
really?
being Aisling Duval. Yeah, she was Aisling Duval in that one.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna interview her too.
Excellent. It's a good choice.
I've been wondering, who have you been voicing the science guy yourself?
Yeah, science guy's me. Most people in my series are me.
Well,
yeah, science guy. Yeah, he's a little filter there. He's just a little guy that likes doing science stuff and blowing stuff up and getting in escape pods.
Yeah, science guy. Just most things I have sitting here on the board. Like
what you're using for that?
Infamous William. Yes. No, this is Morphox Pro. A very interesting little toy. Very useful to keep Turjan in check. I like Turjan.
Yeah. So I used to do these before I had Morphox Pro. I used to do these things just in Audacity, and I used to pitch shift them and mess about with them in that. But essentially, that's what you can do in this, and just set them up as a filter, so you can record the lines as is without having to run them through filters afterwards, and it's made it a lot easier.
Which also means you can use them live, like here.
It does. I mean, Turjana was a pain because it's some people. I mean, if you ever heard Shibuka doing a female voice, you probably haven't. He did on a couple of the broadcasts. We did Star Trek.
I actually have not.
Pulsar, and he can actually do a convincing female voice just naturally. He's got one of those voices that he can do that.
Nice.
But most of us were not blessed with the ability to do that.
No.
It just sound wrong. So it took me quite a long time to work out how to do a Turjana filter.
Yeah, I think.
But yes,
I
it's
would have
kind of
trouble
crystallised
too.
now. Well, you can surprise yourself. And it's the thing. I mean, I don't consider myself a voice actor. I never did. But when you start doing these things, you kind of get into a habit of it, and you surprise yourself sometimes with what you can do. When I was watching through some of my old episodes, and I was thinking,
Whoa!
God,
Oh, I'm
doing
almost
everybody's
boosting to
voices.
you.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm doing everybody's voices here. The entire
Yeah.
episode.
Well,
Like the 43 was the worst one. Episode 43, the one on Mars High.
yeah.
The number of voices I do in that is just, I think there's 6. They're all 6 voices, and it's ridiculous.
With
But
all the flight
still, you got a knack
controllers.
for it. You got a knack for
Yeah.
voice acting, especially. Well, I noticed in the very first episode you made that your character was the dialogues were very, very natural, and that's one thing that most voice actors can't do. And you had that down from the start, so.
Yeah, well, you say so.
Actually,
Thank you very much. Very flattering.
actually something
But I
to
mean,
be
I
proud of.
listened to the first 2 or 3, and I think that sounds a bit off.
Yeah, maybe
But,
it sounds a bit off
that's
from
fine, with
what you do
hindsight,
now, but still,
Yeah, it's because
I mean, it's
you
not
got
too
more
bad.
used to doing it, and so
Yeah,
better.
pretty much.
I consider myself a pretty
self-conscious about
critical mind. So if I say
Yeah,
something
you're
like
a musician, so you
yeah,
listen
well,
to
you
stuff
have a good
more
ear.
carefully.
yeah,
I
I've
have
got
a good
an
ear. So
iPhone.
if you say it's good, I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah,
I hope so.
Good ears.
I like that.
But yeah, so it's a challenge coming up with music. I was actually, and I'm glad I didn't use the voice that I was going to use originally in episode 45, because I was going to do the voice of the logs in that one, because I've always wanted, since we started getting the voice logs in Elite, I've always wanted an opportunity to do exactly the same kind of situation that you find on one of these abandoned settlements, where there's 3 or 4 log entries and it builds the story and it always ends in tragedy. That's how these things work in Elite. I've always wanted to do that, and so I'd knocked up the lines for that, and I was listening back to them and I thought, it just sounds like me doing the silly voice things. I don't like these. So I was lucky enough that in our little chatty group with our little creative folk, there's Commander Shivam up, who has a wonderful voice. He's the one that's voiced Bill Dixon in that episode, as you hear in the logs, and he did a wonderful job. He's got a very good resonant voice for that kind of thing. It's got a lot of character in it, and I'm glad. And this is the thing: you can find folk in our wonderful community who are capable of chipping in with voices and
Yeah, we
contributions. And
got
they surprise themselves sometimes.
we got Dick Vat to record some of our jingles and ads.
Yeah.
He's. I'm going to do something with him at some point, but it's a case of the stories that I've got are kind of set in the direction they're going, and his is like a nuclear weapon of a voice. You want to use it in a particular, in a special circumstance. You can't just sort of chuck it out there as a voice. So it's a case of having something that merits using the voice. A lot of cases. I mean, I was glad that I got Colo to do Aisling Duval, because she did an excellent job of Aisling Duval there. And when you listen to the one in the Codex that Frontier did, she's not a million miles off that, and that came later. So it's a pretty good thing. Sometimes you can find good voices in our group. Yeah.
The Codex, I haven't listened to much.
Listen to the people entry, because there's a lot of interesting voices in there. Actually, it's not a bad one. Some surprising ones.
We are
Actually,
looking
like,
for voice actors, so
Edmund Mahon is French, which is a bit strange. I wasn't expecting that. I think he'd be Irish, but there you go.
Mahon. Well,
But-
Mahon sounds French enough.
Yeah, but I've
Almost
always
like
thought it's more
Macron.
like. Well, yeah, but I've always taken it being more like sort of Marn, like you have in Mahoney and things like that. So, but yeah, it turns out well, he's French. It's their rules, whatever. You know, their character.
Oh, why not?
But yeah,
I mean,
Interesting surprise.
Yuri Grom is obviously Russian inspired.
Or Ukrainian.
yeah,
Ukrainian.
Yeah.
perhaps.
But yeah, so as I say, there's a lot of voices. So if anybody wants to make story videos out there, and they think, oh, I couldn't do the voices myself or something, or then it doesn't. You don't need to, because there are people in our community that'll do it. If you just ask someone to give you a hand, I'll give you a hand. That's one of the great things about the Elite Dangerous community. Everybody
Yeah.
will pitch in and help other people to make things, particularly if it's creative things. It's a great thing.
So
Yeah, I
now
love
we've
that part.
we've talked a lot about your series and yeah, the community of Elite Dangerous, but we haven't really talked much about the game itself. How exactly did you got into Elite Dangerous?
Oh, well, I actually played the original Elite back in '84. This is actually sort of game Turjan Starstone related again to a point, because my cousin brought it up when he came on a visit once on a BBC Model B, and he brought the original Elite and the Hobbit text adventure, and we just spent all
I played
weekend
that.
playing those. And that cousin was my cousin Nathan McCree, who's the writer of the Tomb Raider music score.
Ooh,
And
Which parts?
that's
Which Tomb
the
Raider?
first one, 2, and 3. He did.
The original games.
but
the games.
Yeah,
awesome.
He wrote music for them. And as you say, it's exposure to computer stuff in those early days, things like Elite, that turned him into the computer music composer person that he is today. Yeah, and he wrote the theme music as well for Visions of Travels, because I said, "Can you knock us something up?" No, so he says, "Yeah, sure." There you go. But yeah, that was when I first played it in 1984 on the BBC B, and then I got an Atari ST later, and I got the re-release of it there, and then I got Frontier Elite 2. And I do not know how many hundreds of hours I spent playing that on the ST.
so
for me.
So the
with
moment I
freelancing.
saw there was
We
a
got-
Kickstarter for Elite Dangerous, that was it. I was in, you know.
Ah.
Yes, all loving that. Yeah,
got you from the start.
playing it right from the beta. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So we got one question from one of our listeners, actually, from Commander Yannick, who was on our first regular interview.
Yes.
If you could change one thing about Elite Dangerous, what would it be?
Oh, that is a difficult question, and it's probably one that I would be controversial in answering, but I'm going to answer it anyway.
May I interject another question before that about the same
Sure.
stuff? I've been asking that before, but has the migraine trigger stuff with the FFF
Oh
been
yes,
taken care
that's a very good question. Yeah, they've dumbed it down, the waterfall effect, in the current release. It's still it's at a point now where if I use it for more than a couple of minutes, I have to go and get a cup of aspirin. But it's not like being stabbed in the head with an ice pick now. So it has that going for it. It's still unpleasant if I use it long term, but it's easy enough for me to use now that between waypoint 6 and 7, I've managed to turn in 112 million worth of data.
No,
Yeah, I
it's
was
not
just
bad.
gonna ask
I
that,
can use it.
How
That's
have
mostly
your
mapping though.
how have your
Mostly
scanning habits changed because of that?
Yeah, I don't scan as much. I really don't. With the ADS, I was always looking for potatoes anyway. In that one, you can't see them on the new
Yeah.
system. You just see the little spikes on the ground. But I did scan a system with 80 80 bodies in it once, so I can do that, but I run the risk of headaches if I do. I'd prefer it if they had a toggle so they could turn the waterfall effect off, because I don't really think you need it. It's just for retro effect.
It might be
but
integrated.
They might. I put it in the suggestions for them anyway as a thing. But it's not high on the list of priorities, understandably.
Yeah, of course, but they did consider you guys, of course, before. I mean, I've got cluster headaches myself, so I can relate to the trigger kind of stuff, but I've been exhaustively been using the FSS just to try and check if it causes headaches for me, but it doesn't, luckily.
Yeah, you already got enough trouble with that.
Yeah, well, January was a hard month for me, but still. It's about Turjan today.
I cannot use it in VR. I still cannot use it in VR because it just magnifies the effect of the size of a wall. So that's not a good thing.
I haven't tried it in VR.
I never used the FSS in VR. Never.
But I can see the
mapping's fine.
I can see the visual effects that actually cause it. Sorry.
Yeah. But so I can use it. It doesn't give me a total. It gives me a headache if I use it too long, but it's not a migraine now, just a bad headache. So, So I'll take that as the win-ish. Yeah, it is bearable. Yeah, but what was it? Oh yes, something I'd change.
Yeah.
It's something that I would have done differently from the start, to be honest. And I can't really blame Frontier because they don't. I think this is probably their first multiplayer game, really. Certainly one of this scale. So they didn't probably know what they were letting themselves in for with the structure and the architecture of how this whole thing's going to work. But the whole ongoing argument we've had with the PvE and the PvP communities and all the salt and aggro and everything that's gone on from day one, that could have all been stopped if they'd played how they had the Pilots Federation in the game differently. Because as we know, MMOs love to have factions. If you've got different player groups, you love to have factions because then they can have a legitimate reason to kick off. There's no... in the current structure in the game, there are no factions in that regard. There are plenty of NPC factions, superpower factions.
It's not like the Horde and Alliance of WoW.
Exactly.
You have to choose one.
Exactly. The players all belong to the same gentleman's club, is what it comes down to. Because we're all working for this same organization. We take dirty jobs from everybody. We're mercenaries, you go out and do the job. You meet people occasionally, say, "Oh, you're doing this gig as well." "Yeah, I'm out here as well." I saw that in the caricaturing world. So it's the same kind of thing. You meet the same performers from time to time. You don't know, and it has that same feel to it. But the problem here is that, in law terms, people in the Pilots Federation shouldn't be shooting other people in the Pilots Federation because it's bad for business. It looks bad to the people who are hiring you to do these jobs, And the whole structure, the logic of it is completely wrong. But if from the start you'd had a breakaway group from the Pilots Federation that didn't like the way that they were running things or whatever, and they just wanted more freedom and they wanted to be a bit more piratical and criminal,
then they could go in the thing that
anarchy systems.
That Obsidian End was suggesting in one of his latest videos.
Exactly. Yeah. And you could have a separate group that were a breakaway of the Pilots Federation, and then you could have legitimate PvP war zones between the two, because the Pilots Federation don't like this breakaway group and they want to sort of slap them down as uppity people, and the breakaway groups don't like the Pilots Federation because they've broken away from them. So you've got that tension, you've got a reason for them to have a go at each other, and the rest of the time it would be PvE because that's what the law would have. So you have these legitimate battlegrounds, PvP, PvE, and people can beat each other up to their heart's content as much as they want without having this salt that we've got of griefing and people having a pop at people and, "Oh, I can't do piracy," all this stuff. And it's because the architecture wasn't there from the start to allow people to work within that framework. So if they'd set up the two rival groups from the start, then it would work. And that's really the big single thing that I'd change with the game if I could.
But it can always be added afterwards. It's
It
still a thing
can,
that could be
it can,
put in
yeah.
lore-wise.
Would be a pretty big event lore-wise.
Well,
Yeah.
considering the Thargoid incursions, I think it wouldn't be
Yeah,
that big.
they could use that. Yes, yeah. With like the club and or this conspiracy going on.
Mhm.
They're gonna further develop that story. I heard that the club was actually David Braven himself. His
So
idea.
I understand. Yes, yes. Drew implemented it from David Braben's idea. So I'd have to say I'm not very keen on it. sorry, Sir Lord Brabenhope. I'm not very keen on the idea.
Don't be afraid.
Account
to speak your mind.
suspended.
Yes, that's it. I'm doomed now. But no, from a story point of view, I'm not that fond of it. I mean, I can understand. It's sort of like a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's a bit of behind-the-scenes fun that's going on there. But I don't think it plays terribly well because of the. Ironically, I think because none of us can pretend that the communications between the players and the devs in Elite Dangerous at the start of the game was particularly good, was it? We know it wasn't. There was a lot of communication problems between the player base and the devs at the start. It's getting better now. Very much is getting better now. They've worked out an awful lot of issues recently, particularly after the whole notice business. We're getting there, working it out. But this sort of this perception of secrecy and lack of communication that the players had, when you have this introduction of this club thing, which is essentially a shadowy secret behind the scenes group, it just it makes it worse. It kind of rubs people's faces in it. That there's a communication.
I don't know how deep you are
into a lot of people
the recent lore, because I think it doesn't really make sense with Colonia going on at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of jarring things that they don't really gel too well together. I don't know how you'd go about sorting it. I mean, there probably is some convoluted. I mean, I've had enough weird convoluted things in my episodes that are sort of weird retrofit things, and you go, oh, that's why that's like that. So it's possible if I sort of was stuck in a dark room for a couple of weeks, I could probably work out some convoluted story reason to justify all these things. I mean, half of the first 20 or so episodes of Turjan's Travels is justifying weird things that Frontier had left in the game, either by accident or bugs or whatever, and I'm finding reasons for them to be there. So yeah, I can justify things. If they want someone to justify things, they know where to find me. I'll give them a justification to things.
Sorry, I just was looking at my phone. Nagi?
Yeah.
You alive?
Yeah, you can.
You're falling asleep or something? No.
No.
I didn't have a follow-up question, so I was wondering if you had one.
No.
No. Great. Awesome. Now we've got a awkward silence moment.
The first time we are actually admitting it. It happened before.
Yeah, but not that long. I've been measuring in milliseconds. Wait, just...
That's usually where I stick one of these in.
Oh my god, you can't be serious?
Fill one of them from the soundboard.
So, Nagi, you've been checking off the general questions, I think.
Yeah, I think we got all of them.
Really? Already?
We've got pretty much.
We've got a little more than 20 seconds, 20 minutes.
Well, I got one question. If you would have taken a different ship to Distant Worlds 2, which one would have been?
I don't think I actually could, because of how things played out. I considered the Phantom. I did, because I just like its Millennium Falcon looks and the engines at the back and all of that. But it's got 2 seats in it, and I probably actually do need the 3, and the bridge is a better shape to film in the Crate Mark II. It's a better balanced setup for me to sort of do shots in.
What about the Corvette?
And this, you know, I don't really like the big ships. I much prefer small ships. So, because I mean, again, from a story point of view, if you think how big something like a crate actually is, it's the size of a reasonably large detached house, you know, probably with a garden as well. So you can have a swimming pool in the back there somewhere, you know, on the lower deck. So there's a lot more space in these things than you think. I mean, a Corvette, these things are like oil tankers. You have one guy rattling about in a cockpit. What's going on in the rest of the ship? You know, why are you using the rest of the ship? It doesn't really make a lot of sense from a story point of view for me. So small ship, not a fighter type ship, because there's not enough room. Medium-sized ships for me. And the crate the bridge on the crate looks like it was designed to be used as a film set. Whoever it is at Frontier, the devs that designed that crate bridge, thank you, because it is a wonderful bridge. I love it. I mean, the big Imperial bridges are nice. I mean, the Clippers bridge, you can have a party in that one. But
I think
again,
the cutter bridge looks oddly small.
Yeah, a bit weird. But nevertheless, they're clean and shiny and lovely. I love the looks of the Imperial ships. I do. They are what a spaceship should look like.
Yeah.
You know, you can almost smell them when you're on an Imperial ship. That sort of plasticky, you know,
plastic, rubber.
Plastic. You can almost smell it. They are beautiful bridges, all of them. But for my purposes, I think the crate is the best choice. In the Three Guys One Ship, which is probably never going to see light of day now.
You're saying crate.
We were going to have at the end. We were going to have a cutter in that at the end. So that would have had that lovely curves. The look. It's a wonderful bridge. But yeah, for mine, I want something a bit scruffier, a bit more a working ship, and the crate's perfect for that. Plus, it's got enough room in it that I can stick, in story terms, any sort of weird cabin or room or whatever somewhere inside it, and there's plenty of room. So you don't have to see where it is in the ship. You know, I can just put something in there.
Well, I think the crate is one of the ships that had elevators pre-built in for space packs.
I believe so. I mean, if you look around it in VR, especially the Mamba more so, definitely. If you look around both of those two, and the Phantom, all those cockpit bridges, the detail in them, and the fact that it's there at all in places that you can't normally see, it's foreshadowing of space legs. There's no doubt about it.
Let me just show you something. If you look at that elevator door back there, it's the interior of my ship, of course, but we both are flying crates. So if you read the text next to the door in the back there, it says elevator airlock. So
yeah,
it's a pretty, also got one
pretty big giveaway.
in Type 9 and Type 10, I think. Also, is this an elevator?
Yeah, the Type 9 does, but I mean when you put that one out, I mean Scorpius and I, we spent quite a lot of time one evening in VR, trying to see how far we could get in the Type 9's bridge to look around. And Scorp I mean, I haven't got much room to mess around with my VR, but Scorp has he's got a room scale thing, so I could just hear his voice getting more and more distant. And he's going, I can nearly get. I'm standing on a chair. I'm reaching up round here. I can nearly see round the back of that corridor. I can just see in the darkness. And I think this is good. But the detail they put in the ships there, it wasn't anything like the detail that are in these new ones. So when you look at the two of them side by side, the level of detail in the Type 9's bridge and the level of detail in the Phantom and the Crate Mark II, you can see that they're designed more than just to be sat in a chair and looked at. They're meant to be walked around. Now, how long it takes them to do it is up to them. I saw that Will posted a thing about the roadmap for the development of the game in the future, and he's talking about something like sometime in 2020. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered if it takes them that long, because I'd rather they do something like Space Legs properly than do a half-assed job like X3 or
so far they have been
like
delivering on every promise they made.
They have. It's taken them a long time, but then again, Star Citizen still isn't out yet, and that was kickstarted at the same time.
Well,
so a long time is
hope
relative,
it will be
isn't it?
at some point.
It's a relative thing.
Actually, I'm afraid to make the comparison, but some people actually dare to compare it to No Man's Sky, which, has its merit, but
you can compare it, but
it's a pretty. It's pretty far-fetched.
It's like it's like a cartoon series against a live-action thing like Star Trek.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
it's
kind of accurate.
They're both fun. They both do what they do, and they do it well. But they're not the same animal. It's as simple as that. And Elite from the start has always gone for realism. It's a very noble goal, but it's one that comes with consequences, which means that you have to take time and do things properly. No Man's Sky can chuck something in there with their small development team that's completely fantastical and nobody cares because it fits with the fantastical world that it's in. Strange creatures running around with fly heads and 8 legs, We don't care because it's a fantasy world, it's fine. But you'd get trouble if you did that in the Elite world. So that couldn't work. Stop it, Mr. Braben. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the reasons they should take their time with Space Legs, because especially Atmospheric Planets proposal challenge.
I think we'll get Atmospheric Planets before we get Space Legs. That's my
I think so too. They need to put some gameplay into that, so Space Legs have reason to be there.
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, Plato made a wonderful video detailing the pros and cons of why it's a good thing to have Space Legs and why it's also a bad thing.
And about atmospheric planets, I think what they are gonna do with the populated ones is creating those space corridors, and so you can only use the traffic corridors going down into a city and not really flying around the planet itself.
Well, it kind of makes sense because you don't have commercial jets landing in your back garden.
Yeah, exactly.
On Earth now, you're only supposed to fly in certain areas, and there are rules, and you're not meant to break them. You could say it's a bit of a cop out, but what I expect is atmospheric landings on uninhabited worlds long before we get.
That would be so great.
And you can have all your weather and your clouds and all that kind of thing, and there's no downside to it because it's not like you're breaking in on somebody's territory or something. You might have a planetary base there, but it's not an inhabited world, not like an Earth like.
Make it pretty interesting, like getting into a storm, for example, and then having to land with winds.
Yeah. I think we'll get that first. That's what we'll get first, and then anything else beyond that is a bonus. And they can take their time because we're patient,
Yeah,
we already got a nice simulation of winds in those lightning storm clouds. I experienced. Your ship is actually shaking around in those.
Exactly. I mean, I'm wondering if part of the thing about these stellar phenomena is that they serve another function as being a test run for atmospherics, the things you find on planets.
Yeah,
it'll be
possible.
kind of the same tools, but it's all good. It's all good. It's people say, "Oh, they've stopped working on it." Well, they haven't. I mean, there does seem to have been a slowdown since 3.3 came out. Like, nobody said anything in the last few months, but they've probably got their reasons. They've got their reasons. I trust them. They are delivering a good game, so I trust them. I just wish they gave us lip syncing in the game, then I wouldn't have to do it all myself.
Yeah, well, that's high maintenance.
But I can live with that. I can work around that.
But I'm really glad I found Elite Dangerous, even if it's so late compared to. I wish I
Yes.
would have been there for Distant Worlds 33 too.
Oh yes, me too.
But I've been playing Freelancer. A lot of you guys should know that game. And since I've been looking for a game that builds on that principle of gameplay, and first thing I came across was Star Citizen. Well, you all know how Star Citizenism is coming along. Won't talk about it, but
You can
still I
talk
like
with Henke about that one.
Yeah, well, I do like it, but it's a work in progress. So talking about it won't matter much in like 2 months' time. So I won't do that here. But my best friend kept pressuring me into Elite Dangerous, and I wish I would have found it sooner because it's exactly what I've been looking for. And I've been
Yeah.
playing No Man's Sky and other space games, trying to compensate for the
Yeah.
I
loss
actually
that
bought
It
Elite
was an odd-
when No Man's Sky came out and everybody was running mad.
Yeah, oh my god. And then I was so
when
happy
I-
when Next came out last year, but still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is a great update. Yeah, it is. As I say, when I first played Elite in its beta thing, and I just ran through the initial thing and went and docked a ship and all. I had no trouble docking it because to me it was like I was playing the game that I imagined I was playing back in the 90s. It felt like the same game almost, but how I imagined it would actually look if it was done properly all those many years ago.
Yeah, with
How
better
you-
graphics and
It
stuff like
sounds really
Yeah.
cool. Because that's what a lot of people want from older games being remade.
that. Yeah, I think that's why I like
Yeah.
this game so much because it's had a history, and it's got something to build upon, and yeah, well, it's already it's been tweaked as a single player game, and all they had to do is actually upgrade the visuals, and well, I'm putting it simply here, of course, but and add a multiplayer part, and well, we've
Didn't
got
really have
Elite
to add
Dangerous.
the multiplayer part, I think, but it's cool. It's there. I
Yeah,
would have
it
played
actually-
it if it was single player.
Yeah, of course I would have too, but still, it's the way they integrated it. It's just the best way I can think
It's
of.
okay.
You
A
say-
couple of things I'd have done differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about
I'd have done
that.
differently, but
It's a matter of taste, of course, but I think in comparison to Freelancer, of course, it's just perfect in every way. So that's my opinion about Elite, and everything that's getting added later, like space legs or atmospheric planets or gas giants or anything like that, or even the bubble being destroyed by Thargoids. That's all a bonus, and I'm really looking forward to everything that's happening within the game.
I think the AXI is working to prevent that.
Well, they will try, but maybe. Well, the Guardians failed, so maybe we're not
No, they
that much
didn't.
better off.
Guardians didn't. They won the war.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's why they're dead.
No, they
won the war.
lost against their AI, which was controlling all
They
of
lost
their war
against
machinery,
themselves.
but they've won against the Thargoids.
That's what they
Yeah.
want you to think. They just don't
No,
want to
I'm
admit
just-
they lost to
I'm
the
just
Thargoids.
waiting for us to encounter some AI guardians somewhere out there. Maybe
I
even
would
on this-
actually like to find
know.
find
They went
signs
somewhere.
of cities from there, because those Guardian structures don't really look like those
Well, they-
where they live.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the law argument is that their civilization was destroyed as
Or some
completely as
spaceships.
only a bunch of AI could destroy them. You know, they were like completely obliterated because only AI could do it that thoroughly.
Yeah, and
But the
all
point
those
is the
those
AI
weapons that should
disappeared.
still be out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah?
AI did it for their own self-preservation, and then they disappeared off somewhere. So they're still out there somewhere. We know that, but
Well, maybe
that's
they maybe fused with the Thargoids and since have been evolving?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. Don't like
Uh,
Thargoids.
I like to speculate.
I'm not saying it's impossible. Anything's possible in this game. That's the beauty of it.
True. But still, what
So
are your thoughts
you've
about...
got what, 3 minutes left, gentlemen. So, what's
What?
next for you on Distant Radio? What's coming up next for your next interviews and subjects?
Oh, next interview of that. Next week we got something very, very special. Not an interview in particular, but we got a roleplay session planned with the official ED Dangerous RPG, the pen and paper one,
Oh, the
Um,
RPG, excellent.
led by Commander
Scorb's
Wishplant,
been.
who has been
Oh
creating
right, Wish. I know Wish.
adventures,
From
and one
Ocean
specifically
long ago
for
in the
us.
first great expedition.
And,
Oh, good. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so that's gonna be on a Saturday and in the afternoon, instead of Friday evening. And we still gotta prepare our characters. I still haven't done that.
Yeah, I'll have to give Scorb a nudge about that because he's always banging on about trying to get an EDRPG going as well. So he'll be interested. Yeah.
Well, I probably won't be there. At least I've not been considered since I've said in the beginning that I was too busy to actually, be there for the RPG part. But all I've been thinking about is doing RPG, like in the past month.
I still have
Well,
to kick the
this
others
won't
in the
be-
butt, I guess. So I
But
get.
since my character
This will
is
be the
already
first
pretty
of
much-
many.
Yeah, well, my character's pretty much
There'll be
already
more.
done. There will be more. Yeah, there will.
Yeah.
But I might actually join you next week. But maybe
Yeah.
not.
I'm
I've got
not
the rulebook and stuff
100%
like that.
sure if Night 40 is gonna make it in time with his character creation,
Well,
for example.
Well, give me time to think about it. I don't have thought about it that much yet. But since my character is pretty
Yeah.
much
At
done.
least having one guy as a backup would be cool.
Sure. Anyway, yeah, Turjan, you've been pressing the time matter, but since our next DJ hasn't been showing up, we don't actually have to finish on time. And
Oh,
we're
no,
already
talking definitely.
Yeah, let's just keep going. No, is there anything else you wanted to ask Nagi? Since, yeah.
No, I'm pretty much done.
Oh, there is something I should probably explain just in case anybody's.
Yes.
Because I haven't actually said anything about Stardust, have I? The Stardust video.
No, you haven't.
That's the thing. If anybody has seen one of my videos and only one, it's always Stardust video, which is the one that won the Control Alt Space video
Didn't
competition.
you just say that about the Turjan Sandstone parody?
What?
That
No,
if anyone has seen
some
one
people will
video,
have
it
seen.
was-
Yes, it's true. Some people will have seen the Ballad of Turjan Sandstone, but mostly people will have seen Stardust because that's pretty much because it gets linked from other things. It's because it's had. It's
Yeah,
one of these,
probably Rogue One.
you know, when things get into certain lists because of numbers and things, that's how YouTube works under its own strange rules. So people will see that one and they won't necessarily have seen the others. But yeah, that was May 2017. So yeah, it is something that I regret because I sort of made it as a homage thing to my mum there because she died in spring 2015. So she never got to see any Turns of Travels videos, and it's a bit sad because I know she'd like those. But yeah, it's strange because that is one that is completely not representative of the rest of Turns of Travels. But if people have seen just one, it's usually that one. So it's strange. I'm in a weird situation when people leave these odd comments and they go, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, you've seen that one, haven't you? Yeah. So it is, but it's still the one I'm still most proud of, actually, even after all this time, because it's in some ways, because it's just a pure video. It doesn't have any effects added in and fiddling about and extra bits of animation and other stuff. It's just straight footage from the game put together with a story. So it's a purist video in that regard. So I'm still proud of that one.
Well, my second favorite, I already told my first favorite is Mojo Moon, but the second favorite is, I don't know actually the name, but Shining Dead is all I need to say.
Oh yes, space zombies.
Yes, space zombies.
I liked
do hate
the
those things.
SRV going mad one. I don't remember the episode name, but where I commented, how did you make the SRV going straight for so long?
Oh yeah, that wasn't easy. Yeah. It'd probably be harder now because they've put more variety in the terrain. So you start going somewhere now, and it's hard to find a long flat area like that. But yeah, there were a few takes involved in that one. I'll put it that way. There's quite a bit of spinning out and flying around a lot. But yeah, you cut it together in its days. But it wasn't easy having it go at full belt on a flat piece of ground. It took me quite a long time to find a piece of ground that flat.
Wasn't there a question about
With
that
a cliff.
actually?
With a cliff, yes, it's a good cliff that. And it also took me several goes. It took me several goes to blow the SRV up, because a lot of the time when I drove off that 3 kilometer high cliff, it didn't blow up when it hit the bottom. So Shibuka and I were there for quite a while, and I think eventually I had to damage the thing quite a bit before I jumped off, just to make sure it would actually blow up when I hit the bottom. Because there were
probably always landing on your front wheels, which prevents damage in most cases.
You can hit a pebble the wrong way, and the thing will go from 100% to nothing, and it'll just blow up. But you send it off a cliff, 3 kilometer cliff, and it lands fine. You just can't tell with these SRVs when they're going to go or not. So yeah, I had to deliberately damage that one before I sent it over, just to make sure.
Amazing. Well, yeah. Regarding those flat driving grounds and going straight, here Parabolus has posted something in the Science Talk channel about that planets are actually much smoother than they are, well, being portrayed in Elite.
Yes, they probably are. They probably are, and particularly when you start factoring in gravity and bits and bobs and airless worlds, there's probably just going to be a lot of flat, or at least smooth. Not necessarily flat. They might have inclines and slopes and things, but they'll be smooth. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, seems like we're closing in on the end. The pace is slowing down. Any questions left, Nagi?
You're asking me that for the second time now.
Yeah, I know. But maybe you've come up with any. Have you been watching the YouTube chat or anything?
No.
Why?
Because my graphics drivers are acting up a bit, so.
Oh, okay.
Excuses.
Every time
I'll just start asking you questions instead. Then, if it gets to that point.
Okay, go ahead.
So that's not a problem, Well, I will. I'll just say, how did you actually start setting up distant radio? It's a hell of a logistical problem, isn't it? I know Cold Glide had issues.
Well,
this is much bigger.
I think we had like two months of preparing before we actually went online.
Well, I started playing the game on actually pretty much the start of November last year. So 1 week later, I came up with the idea for the radio. Actually, I got the game. I watched Turjan's videos, I heard of Distant Worlds. I was looking for the next expedition, Distant Worlds. I found Distant Worlds 2. I joined FleetCom, and then I had the idea for the radio, and here we are. And logistical, real life talk. It's just a server running Icecast, and a web server, of course, and stuff like that. And in game, well, I've set up a little antenna array. Well, I've been using something that's been there for a while, and that actually comes from Turjan's story. I've been abusing the Andra array.
Don't your stories.
Well, I think. Wait. Let me just have a look at the listener count. Well, 11 listeners. Well, I hope they won't spread the secret.
We've been called the pirate radio
these are
station
11
some
by
quality
Polygon
lists,
article.
you know, so-
Polygon has called us a pirate radio station,
Oh.
and I've been picking up on that. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything
It's
to
not
fulfill
official.
that image. We've been using. Yeah, if you have listened, you know what we've been using. I won't repeat it.
Also, you got some pretty big antennas on your ship, which is
Yeah,
useful.
that's why I'm flying a Phantom. A Phantom has been
Yes,
actually
they
built
do.
for me. The ship has been designed for me, and it's just made for the purpose of broadcasting radio. If you have a look at that, actually, there's been rumored a ship kit has been rumored to be in the works. Which actually increases, just like for the Crate Mark II, the Phantom's antenna amount. So we can even broadcast even further. So people from Andromeda and stuff like that can listen to us.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually. Well, it will be a while, but
It's
they
worth
will.
waiting for.
Yes,
Worth waiting for.
indeed, it is. Yeah, but so much for that. I've been
It's a
saying
bit
too much already.
suspicious, though. Two custom-built crates, and I know who built mine. It's Turjan Starstone. So,
With his
uh,
own
This
hands.
is going on. Just don't trust that guy. Just don't trust him.
I'm still not sure who the guy was who sold the ship computer
Exactly.
to the scrapyard I got it from.
Oh, nice! We are
Yeah, well, this is it. You just don't know.
random fun fact. We are exactly 25,900 light years from Sol.
Oh yeah, it's always a good. It is a good thing actually to do on Distant World. I remember doing this quite often on the last one. Every now and then you just stop and mark Sol and look at it and see how far away it is.
I couldn't do that on my first trip to Beagle Point because I haven't gotten the permit yet.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I did that
Can't even
afterwards.
target it then?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
that was one advantage of being a backer from the early days. You got the permit straight away. That was something.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
But yeah, it's
I knew that
yeah,
that
and-
backers got the permit for Shinrata Desra.
Yeah, we got Sol permit too. darling. But there's it's another aspect to this that's different from the first time we came out here is the route planning. You can plan. It was a breeze planning the routes out here this time. Last time when I came out Distant Worlds one, you could only plot 1,000, and the nearer you got to the core, the harder it was to plot because of the way the game worked out the route. It sort of measured it. I think it measured it backwards, so if you tried to plot straight on 1,000 light year route, it could literally sit there for 20 minutes plotting it and take ages and ages to work it out because it worked out all the optimum steps, and then it had one leftover one at the end, so it had to recalculate all the time. But now, what we ended up doing was finding the sweet spot. So instead of plotting 1,000, you plot something depending on your own jump range. It was like 960 or 970 or something, and you always had to pick something like that, and it would plot it much faster because you were working out, how it plotted and taking advantage of what it was expecting. But now You can just go, hey, there you go, plot that, whoa, done. And it is so much easier.
Last night it took me to like 2 or 3 minutes to plot a road to from waypoint 5 to waypoint 6. That's like 5,000 light years. It took
but
like
yes,
2 or 3 minutes.
I'm not kidding when I say 20 minutes. I really am not. Sometimes
I excluded most stars from my filter by now, deep in the core.
Has the game crashed? Has it crashed? Is it still working? What's going on? Has it worked? And you just
had those issues when I was in the Abyss, actually. But it took really long to plot anything.
Yeah, well, back in the day, back up distant worlds of old, we had to go. We went around. Yeah,
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Jump range. Yeah,
or looking at Beagle Point right now, realizing we are not even halfway.
Not halfway. Yes.
By far, not halfway.
Was that in? That was in the perspective episode. Yes, I did exactly that. Perspective episode. Look back at Sol, and then you look at Beagle Point, and Cass is saying it's this much further away, and I've gone, oh, for God's sake.
You got a bit more than a third of the way now, I guess.
Yeah. But we've got a spinny station, which we didn't have last time, so that's better. It's an improvement.
Well, we didn't go in a straight line. We have to end that.
No, you have to take scenic route.
One wasn't a straight line either.
But the Abyss now, you'll just be able to hop over it in the ships we've got here.
Yeah, kinda. It depends a little bit on where exactly you are. When I first went there, I was in an Anaconda with 55 light years of range, and I crossed the Abyss eastwards to the Subluster beacon first, with 10,000 light years from Beagle Point to the east. And then on the way back, I went down first, south, through the Abyss. It wasn't a problem at all. Then I went a little bit more westwards and tried to go back north again to Beagle Point, and I got really hard problems plotting there. They could only plot like 500 light years. Yeah, and now I got even lower jump range, so it will be fun.
We used to plot in chunks of like between 200 to 500 light years when we had the 1,000 light year cap, because it was probably the safest thing you could do. It was the best thing to do.
Yeah, well, you didn't have that jump range back then.
Exactly. I had 33.31 in my ASP when we went out there. This was before the days of engineering. 33.4. But we did have jumponium. Yeah, that's I had 2 SRVs for filming purposes, so I could have got more out of it, I suppose, if I'd just gone for one. But that was what we had, but we did have jumponium, thankfully. So when I was coming back from Beagle Point, I thought, I'm not going round all that way round the Abyss again. That's a really long way around. So I tried to sort of cut across a bit, but there's a whole permit lot sector there of numbered systems. They don't have names, they just have numbers, which is
weird. That one's right at the edge of the Abyss.
Yeah, and I thought, oh damn, I can't get through there either. But I had some jumponium, and it was the only time I actually used jumponium on the entire route, was to jump across the Abyss the other way, coming back, rather than going round. I gobbled up a few jumponium boosts just to get over there. But now I'd be getting the same boost with the jumponium that our ships do normally without. So it shouldn't be too much hassle getting there this time and getting out.
Also, we got routes set that you can look up on EDSM.
Yes, it's a reasonably well-travelled route now. Yeah, particularly for someone like Peroxide.
It'll be really interesting to talk with Aramus about that and how he first got to Beagle Point. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to hear that story, because I've seen the videos. His wonderful videos detailing all the Beagle trips and all. But to actually hear the story itself, oh yes, I'm looking forward to that one. There's one interview I'm looking forward to. Definitely that one.
Alright, so we want to close it up now?
Well,
Your
if
show,
you don't
mate.
have anything to add,
I'm just here for the ride.
yeah, I think we should. We are almost at 2 hours and 30 minutes, so quite a lot of time. Well, yeah, then we will finish up here, and yeah, we will say our goodbyes. Turjan, you take the start, please.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me. And if you want another chat another time, fine. I'll say you know where to find me.
Yeah,
And my
thank
own
you.
twin sister too. She'll be there.
Thank you for joining
She
us
thanks
here.
you too.
Always the interruptions.
Anytime.
It's been great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I hope next interview will be in roleplay, at least for the major part as well. Yeah, well, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Next scheduled interview will be on coming Wednesday at 20:30 in-game time, as usual, with Dangerous Cosmology. We haven't yet decided on a topic for that podcast yet, but if you have suggestions, keep them coming. Post them to the Dangerous Cosmology channel on our Distant Radio Discord. And if you aren't on the Distant Radio Discord yet, feel free to join us. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I wish you a good evening, a good night, a good morning, a good day, whatever, wherever you are.
And good journey.
Yeah, thanks Turjan for joining us, and hope to have you again on this on the radio.
Yep, happy to pop in.
And thanks Nagi for joining us on the interview, of course.
Yeah, and thank you for hosting.
Yeah, then goodbye everyone. Yeah, have a good night. I already told that. See you and talk to you later.
See ya, fly
Bye-bye.
safe.